a major victory, I guess you could say, as well, for the enemy. Just having us focus on our differences and our little issues and not really standing guard for each other. And I think that you had a very specific point here, Dr. Yancey, about which types of Christians might let other types of Christians fend for themselves. Can you speak a little bit more to that?
I'm studying progressive Christians who don't tend to defend conservative Christians when they are attacked. And one of my arguments is that what I define as progressive Christians uh, really are so different from conservative Christians to almost be a separate religion. And so what happens is that you'll have a person who identifies as a Christian and who says, well, there's not really a problem out there. And of course, what happens is that the focus of media and what have you is on that person who says, there's no real problem out there. Don't worry about it.
Mm.
Which, of course, gives cover for people who do want to engage in that anti-Christian bigotry. So that's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons why I want to study progressive Christians, to understand them, and the book that you actually saw that I was working on, that's that's that the name of that book's gonna hopefully, if the editor allows it to be, it's gonna be Red Christianity, Blue Christianity, because I think that is a dynamic that we don't always understand. And so, African Americans learned this as well. Just because someone's a black doesn't mean that they are really for you. And just because someone says they're a Christian doesn't mean that they're really for us. And that's why that community is not just any old Christians, but Christians who are committed to building a community, to building a faith that is, really based in the Bible and really make it relevant in our lives. That we're falling short, but we're striving to be what the Bible calls us to be, and we're helping each other out in doing that. But not all Christians are really committed to that, and so I think we have to be very, very, very cautious as to. We have to be aware that that's a dynamic, and so that not everyone who says they're Christian is going to be a part of our community, and we just can accept that.
I recently heard a podcast or a radio show hosted by the Christian Worldview. The host is David Wheaton. Are you familiar with this ministry, Dr. Yancey?
No, I'm not.
I would highly recommend it. thechristianworldview.org. And again, the host is David Wheaton, and he just covered the work of Brandon Kimber. He released 2 films, American Gospel, Christ Alone, and American Gospel, Christ Crucified. And specifically, that latter one is a 3-hour documentary. I'm reading this from the website, and it's broken into 10 chapters focusing on the topics of postmodernism and progressive Christianity, leading to a different gospel and a God created in our own image.
It did make me think. First of all, I appreciate the gentleman's conversation here about appropriate response, about using the law the best we can. What has really discouraged me and my wife as we watch television is the absolute rejection of respect for law that our country is like either running towards or trickling towards, depending on your view. The way the police are treated, for example, to me, it's like, I don't know why their jaws are not dropping on the ground when we see water tossed on them and it's a joke and all that. When we see, when we see Nick Sandmann treated that way and people piling on that, when we see on campuses people being physically attacked, that the secular coverage of this is not profoundly, shocked, because we're becoming more that way. And so the law is going to have less and less to do with it. And so that's why I kind of approach this myself. And I think I've heard from the 2 gentlemen too, that it really is a personal thing, whether we call it community or I like the slogan, think biblically, live accordingly. But it's really, that's why I tell my friend here that I'm going to go pick up at 5 o'clock today from the airport, just because he's in our condo and he likes me to come work, take him to and fro. But he and I disagree politically, almost diametrically opposed, really, under the same guise of caring for people. But I told him, I said, that's why, as I dropped him off, I said, that's why our role is not to change the world, but to be a difference maker in the world. And so my emphasis is it's a heart issue, it's a gospel issue. I think Monica mentions that quite a bit, that it is really a personal salvation issue, while not ignoring and being an ostrich to the world and its societal, attention, but really is its heart attack that we need to be involved in, um, and that's the way I approach it. Perhaps it's my age, perhaps it's my place where I've come from, but I'm getting less. As much as I am so into the political scene, I'm becoming less and less confident that it is the way that we are going to see the truth take root in our society.